stories from Mexico, and today we're talking about Jaimico Toys, another member of the collective of Los Toys. And this is probably the last member that I'm gonna talk about this collective or group of YouTubers, because I believe him and Pitin Toys are the two members of the group who were left to be forgotten and were left on their own and now are seen struggling. And in the future, I am working on it already. I will be making a video about Marquitos Toys and his rumors or bad alliances that he so-called had. So let's get right into the video. Jaime Osuna, famously known by his nickname of Jaimico Toys, is a character whose humble and no filter personality, as well as the disability that he possesses, has made him a fan favorite in the group of the Marquitos Toys, known as Los Toys. Jaimico is another great example of when you don't have the right guidance or the right people around you, you are doomed to just be used. Jaimico Toys at one point was part of the Marquitos Toys group. There he would be living a lavish and fast life where he would party, drink alcohols, and have girls around him. He was also another member that helped Marquitos Toys gain his 4 million followers on YouTube. However, none of that would help him in his life and his future, because now that Marquitos Toys is no longer in Mexico to help him out, he is now back to his humble life that he once had. In his hometown, he has been seen working packing groceries for people, as well as asking for money and even charging people $5 to take a picture with him. So let's get right into his life story. Here, I will show you the importance of building your own platform and never to expect nothing from nobody, because in reality, life is like a swing. At one moment, you're at the top, and the very next, you can be at the bottom. Jaimico was born on June 24th, 1989. He was born and lived his life in Culiacan, Sinaloa. He has polio in one of his legs, which causes him to walk with a limp. Therefore, he has a disability. He grew up in Los Barrancos neighborhood, a neighborhood that is very well known in the city of Culiacan. He grew up in a middle lower class family that never had privileges in his life. He lived a humble life where he had both parents that had good relationships with each other and him. He came from a humble, good, loving family. Jaimico lived a regular childhood. He was poor, but he lived a solid childhood. When Jaimico was around 28 years old, in 2019, he joined part of the collective Los Toys. The way he joined is the exact same way El Pitin Toys joined. He went and asked Marquitos Toys for a job in the car wash he had. Marquitos Toys seen him and perhaps felt compassion because of his disability and gave him a job. There he would help out lightly, because even then Marquitos Toys gave him the easier jobs on the side because of his health problems. When Marquitos Toys started making his YouTube videos, he was part of the original crew of members that were in the videos. He came out and he was instantly loved by the people. People loved him because he had no filter and was a funny guy. Marquitos Toys would pull pranks on Jaimico as well, which made him funnier because of his reactions. As Marquitos Toys gained fame and money, Jaimico started to have the same benefits. Of course, not at the same level as Marquitos, but still has some benefits. He will start living a fast life, perhaps in part because Marquitos would live that life as well. However, he did not know when to switch from a party to work. He will start drinking more and more, and even hanging out with people he should not be hanging out. Something that Marquitos Toys would accuse him of himself. Marquitos Toys would try to straighten him up and lead him to the right path. However, Jaimico was already in too deep in the alcohol, and just like Pitin Toys, he had people giving him bad advice in his life. He started facing depression issues and started to separate himself from Marquitos Toys and even made some bad claims about him. Jaimico officially stopped hanging out with Marquitos Toys around 2022 or 2023, when Marquitos Toys was still in Mexico. And he would even be spotted working in a store as somebody who helps you pack your groceries, and could be seen roaming on the streets, and when people came up to him and asked him for a picture or such, he would charge them 50 pesos. The life that Jaimico was once living with Marquitos Toys had came to an end abruptly. However, Jaimico is not like Pitin Toys. He knows to not depend on people, and he has worked before in his life in an actual job and not just dependent on people. The people that will give Jaimico the bad advice will still hang out with him till this day. They have tried to make him famous again and try to start up his TikTok account that as of now has 100,000 followers. However, Jaimico does not have that much great content, and you can see the people who have him around probably don't want the best for him, and I will assume they're the ones that manage his profiles and incomes. Perhaps they're taking his money, and therefore there's another case of extortion here. Jaimico nowadays is not doing as great as he once did, but I believe he's still better off than Pitin Toys. Jaimico never got into drugs like Pitin did. He would just do alcohol, and if you see him in the videos recently, you can see that he is somewhat a smart guy, and he has a brain. He has the health issues, which sadly he has always had in his life, and probably have caused him to become a conformist in his life, because perhaps he does not have the same opportunity as other people. However, Jaimico does not let that bring him down and is still fighting for his plate of food every day.